This is Char-Lez for the Dave Nolan Society, and we have our Tuesday table talk here, and I have Russ with me. Russ, how you doing?
Oh, doing good, Char-Lez. How you doing this evening?
Not too bad. And we also have our guest, and that is Chris Rose. Hey, Chris, how you doing, man?
Wonderful, wonderful. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Rick, welcome to Table Talk Tuesday.
So,
Thank
in
you.
any case, you might have heard an election happened, and there's been a lot of analysis of going on, you know, now that the elections are mostly counted. I think we're all counted here in Florida and everything. All the big things are handled. And we're looking forward, and that's why we wanted you on here as a director-level LPF person to talk about your ideas and future comments, thoughts, maybe is a better word, for the Libertarian Party of Florida. So with that, I'll just throw it open with that. What do you think we would do, should do going forward with Libertarian Party of Florida and libertarian movement in general?
Well, Char-Lez, I mean, as you know, I'm pretty active. I consider myself an activist on the EC here, and as far as moving forward, I'd like to see pretty much what I have tried to bring to the table since our last annual convention, and that is really just more activism. Activism drives interest. It drives up views on what you put on social media. Our goal as a political party is ultimately to run candidates, but we also have to maintain an effective presence in our local communities, our local governments, at our city and county commission meetings, which I try to be a regular attendee at mine up here and around the area, pretty much anywhere I can get to within a day's ride. I'd like to see more activism. I'd like to see more involvement on a personal basis, on a one-on-one basis within the community, and reaching out and making contacts in person. It's pretty tough to convince someone to vote for you, or especially to sign up and run as a candidate for you to represent your party and your interest, unless you actually go out there and reach them and meet them face to face. So I'd like to see really just more involvement from us. I think the EC should set the example in this, and that we should empower our committee leaders and committee members and all of our hardworking, phenomenal volunteers, everywhere in the party, just to go out there and to meet people and to, attend these, both the government meetings and community events, stuff like that. Just get out there, put your name out there, put your face out there, represent the party, and when people see that, it really winds up, I've found, being a lot more successful for your goal. Okay, when people get to know you on a personal basis, they see that you're active in getting out there. They're a lot more in tune to jump on board with you and get behind you, I guess, than if you just try to beat them over the head, on social media or press releases or what have you. Not that that type of stuff isn't important, but you have to have something to back it up, right? You have to have it go hand in hand.
All right. So real quickly, so you're saying it's important to
when Char-Lez was chair, that was one of the things that we really pushed hard on, is the outreach, and it showed. We really saw growth. So we're on the same page as you with that.
Well, apparently my silly comment didn't make it. I'm sorry about that. I think we lost video there. Hey, so in any case, one of the things you said there, Chris, was that we should empower the EC. Did you mean to take that as in we should empower them to be better activists, or to actually run for office, or both? Or I wanted to kind of focus on that for a minute and get your elucidation there.
Okay, so what I'm driving at is that the EC should set the example to empower number one, our committees, okay, because that is ultimately where most of the work as far as running this party gets done, is in our committees. So we should be excellent facilitators of that process as much as we can, and to empower them and others across the party, both within and on the outside looking in. So that's kind of what I was trying to drive at there.
Okay. So if you were a county person right now, because you mentioned the local stuff, what would you do? What would you be preparing for the upcoming months?
Well, it's kind of slowed down here, as I'm sure it has pretty much mostly across the state. The region I'm in up here, Region 4, Alachua County and the surrounding counties, are really starting to taper off with their meetings. Most are only meeting once a month now officially. So you're going to see some of the I guess the activism with your local government meetings taper off for the season, and that's to be expected. That doesn't mean that we should go full stop on it. I still intend to make as many meetings as I can, both in my own home county of Alachua and in others. But there's a lot of seasonal events that are coming up, and this goes back to where I mentioned the community events, which is probably equally as important as showing up at your local legislative bodies in front of them and speaking to them and articulating what it is that you're trying to get out there. How much more is it just as important to participate in these local community events? There's a lot of Christmas pageants and stuff like that coming on where even just showing up to something like that and wearing something that says libertarian. I don't know if y'all can see that with the dim light I have right here. I've had more people come up to me and when I'm wearing a libertarian hat or shirt or something like that, and of course I also had the advantage of being featured regularly in the paper up here and surrounding newscasts. So I guess I have a pretty familiar face maybe to some people. And that's, really what we should be trying to get out there as well. You can't, this is a long-term process. You can't just, walk out of your house and think that, oh, everybody's going to, say, hey, it's a libertarian, let's go talk to him. Or when you open your mouth, people are going to automatically want to receive what you're saying. They have to see that you are active, in what you're trying to do. I've been pretty much, I think every month this year, I may have missed 1 month. That may have been August with the primaries and everything. I had a lot of scheduling conflicts. I think it's only been 1 month that I've missed a county commission meeting here in Alachua County, and that's not even taking into consideration all the the surrounding cities and counties and what have you. But I've been on TV, I've been in the news, I've been again in the local paper here every single month. So when I taking that and going out to the local community events, I am maybe more recognizable than someone who's just walking out and trying to step up for the first time. Not that I want to discourage you, but I do want to outline that it is a long-term process and it doesn't happen overnight. And I'm not where I want to be yet, so I'm not trying to toot my own horn as much as I am trying to encourage and try to lead by example a little bit everybody else that I do want to try to empower and whatnot. So even though that the government meetings are starting to taper off for the season, there's still a tremendous opportunity to go out and meet people and talk to people, talk to your neighbors, talk to your community leaders and whatnot. Find out what their concerns are and see if you can work together to accomplish solutions without bringing the heavy hand of government in, without calling in the goons, as I like to say.
I do, and I appreciate that for sure. So then, I was really glad to hear you say, and I think a lot of people should focus on this. This is a long-term project. I think a lot of people they learn about libertarianism, they start to understand the concepts of freedom and that sort of thing, and they get excited about it because that's so much better than what we have now. Wouldn't it be great? And they sort of get this, what? I'm going to become an activist and I'm going to spread the gospel to the world. Right. And by the end of the month, we're going to finally elect people who are freedom-minded, and all our problems will be solved, and then I can go back to watching football or whatever it is that I like to do. And
Yep.
unfortunately, the reality of the situation is, I like to say it this way, it took some 230-plus years to get here.
Yep.
It won't take that many years to get back, but it won't happen overnight either. And so I'm glad you said that. The enthusiasm is good, but it must be tempered a little bit with the reality that this is a long-term thing. And I think the other thing you said that was really important for people to grasp as they're starting to plan is, and I would put it this way, is you have to be there. The reason you're getting the coverage that you're getting and that sort of thing is because you're present and people know you and they've started to recognize that you're going to be there. And you're not just some person who showed up who's angry at one meeting because of a zoning decision or something and won't be there next month. You've been there over and over and over, and that has an impact.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, you're exactly right. It is a long-term process, and you really need to outline what your expectations are. If you're trying to change the world, well, you need to start in your own hometown, and then you can move out, from there. I've had the opportunity to speak at, multiple city meetings, county meetings. I've even addressed the state legislature in Tallahassee. But, this is kind of a combined effort. And it's not something that, like you say, just, you go out for 1 month and then you think that, you've really accomplished something. Not that you can't accomplish, something. If that's all you have to give, then that's great. But if the long-term goal is to really make an impact on a large-scale environment here, as you say, we've been going down this road for a long, long time, and it's going to take a really combined effort to try to get us back, and it's not going to take 200 plus years to get us back. We're not that far gone. I have hope. If I didn't, I wouldn't be out here doing this, right? And neither would any of us. But pace yourself. Line up realistic expectations. Okay, when you first sign up to work for a new company, usually if you have the I guess the blessing of being coached well by your new administration. Okay, mostly what they're going to tell you is the first week that you're hired is figure out what it is that you can do, work with what you're given, and as long as you're moving that needle forward, okay, then you're doing something, and it's not going to happen short term. It has to be realistically applied. But this is the beauty of just being able to go out there and do stuff, even if it's every once in a while. I don't care if all you have available to you is one afternoon a month. Go out there every month, and at the end of a year, that's 12 opportunities that you've had. So don't get discouraged if you haven't had 12 opportunities in a single week. Or a single month or anything like that. We all are going to have different, different schedules, different responsibilities, and I'm not telling anybody out there they need to do what I did and quit my full-time job and, and pretty much just, work part-time to phase all this stuff in. I'm not saying everybody can has the luxury of being able to do that, but I think if every one of us that's involved in the party was able to give a little bit, that combined effort is what's gonna get us where we want to be.
I really like that you said that, Chris. We don't need people to go out there and kill themselves and become martyrs. It's a long game. Don't run out there and go crazy. I'm glad you said that. And I like to say it this way: so do what you can and have some fun. These things can actually be quite a bit of fun. You meet some neat people, you talk about things that are important to you. It doesn't have to be drudgery, and it shouldn't be. If it's drudgery, I don't think you're quite doing it right. And so that's just a thought I go with. Hey, Russ, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, the main thing that as Chris was talking that was brought to mind, I heard Jim Babcock talk one time, and he made the point that when you do go out, like we're talking about with outreach, what you're doing is you're planting a seed, and you never know when that seed is going to spring. You may talk to somebody for a year, and then all of a sudden something happens, and boom, they discover they're a libertarian. So that's what you have to look at. Look at the long-term goal on it, and just be consistent with it. Chris's idea about wearing libertarian apparel, that works great for me. I can't tell you how many times I've been stopped in restaurants and various other places. Oh, I like your shirt, and then it starts a conversation, and it's just a way to get a dialogue going. But by all means, as many outreach programs as you can go to, participate. That's the most important thing, and encourage people to run for office. That's probably the biggest thing, is getting that L on the ballot. That's very important, because people keep seeing that. It means we've got a president. So let's keep it up.
Well, there goes my phone in the background. Sorry about that. Okay, Chris, we are reaching our limit here, so I'm going to let you have the last word, and we'll wrap it up for this Tuesday table talk. Sorry, any last moments of wisdom for us?
Oh, I don't know about wisdom, but in my experience, I guess, you know, I agree with what Russ said. Go out there and plant the seed. If that's all you do is reach one person, if that's all you can do, then, I mean, at least do that, because that one person could turn out to be the next Larry Sharp or the next Gary Johnson, or, you know, somebody like that. Somebody's going to be able to take that seed and you know, and nurture it and cultivate it and go out and reach the people that you.
Well, it's Tuesday table talk. I think we lost Chris. I think we've had some technical difficulties right at the end too. Okay. Well, anyway, this has been Char-Lez for the Dave Nolan Society with it's raining and our Thanksgiving technical difficulties. We'll just close it here. Thanks, Chris, so much. I'm sorry you got dropped. I think you got dropped. Russ, do you have any last words?
No, I think we pretty well summed everything up.
All right. Everybody, live free.